We're now going to cover looping through range objects. So just a little review of range objects. If you've forgotten, they are created through the range constructor. There's no other syntax for creating range objects, unlike the other types we looked at, like lists and integers, strings, and floats, and booleans. So you have to use the constructor here. And the simplest way to create a range object is just to put an integer in here. So range 10. Executing this doesn't really show anything. The range object is just a sequence of integers. It defines a sequence of integers between two numbers. And if you don't put a first number, then it just starts at 0 and will go up to but not including the last number. So this is 0 through 9, actually. So it is 10 numbers, but it is 0 through 9 integers. Range objects are most commonly found in for loops. So this is how you can just cycle through the numbers beginning at 0 up to a particular number. And I is, by convention, the loop variable that is used. You should definitely use I when you are using range objects. So for I in range of 10, print out I. Now, as we saw here, whenever you create a range object, it does not actually list out all of the integers. This is just defining the sequence. Just like you can say, all right, you know how to count from 0 to 1,000. You don't have to actually say all of the numbers. When we actually iterate through this range object, that's actually like counting through that defined sequence. So here, I is the loop variable, range is our iterable. This time it's integers 0 through 9. And now I'm just going to print out that integer. And we can see that each iteration, it just goes to the next integer in the sequence and just prints it out to the screen. Okay, so range objects, you're just going to see them mostly in for loops, rarely elsewhere in your code. Let's do another range object. So let's say we do a non-zero start. So let's start at 100 and go to 105. This is the start. This is the stop. Doesn't include 105. I'm going to print out I. So here we go from 100 to 104. So that's the other way of creating a range object is with a start and a stop. If you just put one integer, it is just the stop that is used. The start will default to 0. And the last one, so for I in range, you can have a step size. So let's go from 1,000 to 2,000 by, let's say, 40s. Okay, so the start is 1,000, the stop is 2,000, and the step size is 40. So for each iteration, it'll jump up by 40. So it'll go to 1,000, then 140, 110, 1080, and so forth, like this. So this is a little bit of a longer iteration. But you can see here it is stepping by 40. It doesn't actually get to 2,000, so the stop is not ever going to be included in the range object. Okay, so that's how you loop using range objects. This is a very common thing to do in Python, so you will be utilizing this type of loop frequently.